Good evening, I'm Praram Vadahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Administrative leadership of 245 local levels having to depend on acting officials in absence of sound management by the government. Clash between officials and public representatives a major issue. Death of 2 children in Pastor caused by explosion of devices made during the armed conflict era. Family members of those disappeared not in peace for the past 2 decades. Violence during last month's anti-government protests in Bangladesh resulted in the death of over 1,000 people, marking the bloodiest period in the country since its 1971 independence. And Polisha Govardhan has an eventful day at the para-taekwondo event of the Paris Olympics, wins 2 matches and suffers a defeat, hopes of a medal alive. It has been proven that the bomb that exploded and the other one that did not in Falun Rural Municipality, Ward number 5, Prangwong of Pastor were both made during the armed conflict era. Nepal Army and Nepal Police have said that the explosion had killed 2 children while improvised explosive device IRD was found in the same location. 11-year-old Dipsan Sawa and 2.5-year-old Prince Sawa, son and daughter of Dilip Sawa, were killed in the explosion at the house of Maoist carer Aitaras Kerung in Danagao toll of Falun 5 Prangwong yesterday evening. The explosion also injured 10-year-old Pawan Rai, son of Gyan Bahadur Rai. Pawan has been referred to Koshi Hospital in Biratnagar from Pastor Hospital. Another bomb found near the house where the explosion took place was disposed by the technical team of Nepal Army. District Police Office Pastor DSP Hemanta Vandari said that the device that exploded had rust and the other device that was disposed today was also very old. Vandari suspected that both devices were made during the period of armed conflict. Police has said that the devices have been sent for the forensic laboratory to find out about them in detail. Meanwhile, the National Human Rights Commission has directed for fair investigation into the explosion which resulted in the death of the children. The Commission has also directed for free treatment of those injured and compensation to the family of those deceased. It has also directed the government to dispose such explosives to avoid such explosions in days ahead. A communique issued by the Commission has stated that the explosion was against the Comprehensive Peace Accord reached 18 years ago. Now, family members of those who went missing during the armed conflict era have shared their grievances regarding the state failure in finding about the status of their missing dear ones. With the condition of the member of the family uncertain even after 2 decades, their plight increases every passing moment. With the state yet to provide concrete information about their status, many families have not been able to transfer the ownership of land, while others have been compelled to prefer legal declarants of death and move on with their lives. Spouse of Chuma Acharya of Ghorai Sub-Metropolis Ward number 17 of Thaneshwar was a teacher in Mugu. Thaneshwar had gone missing while returning to Mugu from his home on 15th of August 2022. A total of 22 years have gone by since her spouse has gone missing, but Chuma and her family have not received any information about Thaneshwar, while Chuma has been compelled to face several problems, including the complication in the transfer of ownership of land, which is currently in the name of her father-in-law. Spouse of Masuri Chaudhary of Dang Sisharan Rural Municipality, Ward number 3, Dang Hariram Chaudhary, had also disappeared 22 years ago. Masuri had initially thought that her husband had gone to visit relatives, but she was shocked when she found out that the army had a role in Hariram's disappearance. Despite her baby, who was back then inside her womb, now turning 22 years, Masuri remains unaware about the condition of her spouse. She was compelled to prepare a legal death certificate from the ward office after the government officers demanded the death certificate of her husband when she had told them about his missing status. A total of 126 people had gone missing during the armed conflict era in Dang. While the government has endorsed the bill related to transitional justice, it remains to be seen what actions will be taken for those missing. Failure of the Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration has led to the situation where 245 local levels are operating under acting chief administrative officers. The local levels have not been able to operate in the expected efficient manner in absence of the officials. Of the 753 local levels, 245 do not have chief administrative officers. Among 276 municipalities, 119 are SAN's chief administrative officers, while of the 460 rural municipalities, 126 are without them. The Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration has only 50 additional officials in quota. These officials do not have much tasks at the ministry, but they have not been deployed at the local levels. With the ministry failing to manage officials, around one-third of the local levels have remained without chief administrative officers. The Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration has said that the problem has been caused because of the habit of the elected public representatives having officials serving their interests. The ministry has said that the deployed officials have failed to last long because of disputes with the public representatives. The ministry has made preparations to deploy 107 new section officers to the local levels. Even doing so would not meet the vacancy at around 150 local levels. Elected public representatives have said that experienced officials are required at the local levels as their responsibilities include financial transactions. They hesitate in assigning all tasks to the acting officials. Many officials hesitate to go to the local levels because of having to work under the pressure of the elected public representatives. They also fear possible complaints at the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority related to small projects which stains their career. Many officials are currently facing cases at the anti-graft body. This is also another reason for the local levels having to operate with the acting officials. As the responsibilities of the officials have been defined by the law, it is imperative for the federal government to create a conducive environment for smooth operation of the local levels. Chief administrative officers do not last at local levels because of political issues and interests, while officials hesitate from going to many local levels. There is a shortage of officials at several local levels at the moment. Existing officials have not been able to perform in expected manner because of the interests of the elected public representatives, while problems have surfaced in some places as the officials do not follow the directives of the public representatives. The problem of shortage of chief administrative officers faced by the local level since establishment continues to exist even after the second general election. A total of 245 local levels are operating with acting officials. Service delivery has been severely affected because of political appointments. The trend of the leadership changing the officials to serve their interests has led to the officials not lasting for a long period of time at local levels. Meanwhile, many officials have not been able to go to the local levels despite their aspirations, while some local levels do not seem to have chief administrative officers at all. The trend of making appointments to serve interests and operate with acting officials has increased. Absence of chief administrative officers has created problems in service delivery and ensuring smooth operation of development works. Chhattar Jorpati rural municipality has witnessed 4 chief administrative officers since the second election of the local levels in 2022. Based on the existing provisions, the Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration deploys chief administrative officers at the local levels. Elected public representatives have said that problems have surfaced because of lack of actions from the ministry. The local levels were expected to create ease for the public by providing services from their doorsteps. However, works have remained halted or delayed as many local levels have failed to operate in a smooth manner because of disputes between the public representatives and the officials. The public representatives wanting officials close to them and the officials prioritizing their interests has given a space to irregularities and corruption. As a consequence, irregularities have taken an institutionalized form in many places. Minister for Home Affairs Ramesh Lekhak has said the bomb explosion in Pastar that killed 2 minors was from the armed conflict era. Organizing a press conference at the ministry, Minister Lekhak said it had been proved that the bomb was installed during the armed conflict era. He added that further investigation on it was underway.
हामीलाई प्राप्त जानकारी अनुसार पुरानो हो भन्ने नै हो पुरानो ग्रेनेड नै हो यो सशस्त्र द्वन्द्वको बेलाको नै चाहिँ त बम ग्रेनेड पड्केर चाहिँ त यो दुखद घटना भएको छ अब कस्तो दुखद छ भने हेर्नुस् न भक्कर हामीले सत्रवर्षकालीन न्यायको कुरा टुङ्ग्यायौं शान्ति प्रक्रियाका बाँकी रहेका कामहरू टुङ्ग्यायौं भन्यौं अहिले पनि चाहिँ त सशस्त्र द्वन्द्वको पीडा अझ पनि जीवित छ र अहिले पनि चाहिँ त पड्केर दुखद घटनाहरू भइरहेका छन्.
Minister Lekhak also said the ministry's priority was to formulate laws for Nepal police, armed police force and election. He added that the draft of laws for police and election was under consideration at the Ministry of Finance and the draft of Armed Police Force Act had reached its final phase.
नेपाल प्रहरीको कानुनमा केही जटिलता केही चाहिँ त समय सापेक्ष रूपले परिमार्जन गर्नुपर्ने अवस्था विद्यमान छ। त्यसका लागि यो मन्त्रालयले विधेयक अगाडि बढाइसकेको छ। त्यही कानुन बमोजिम गर्ने गरेर त्यो कानुन चाँडो बढाउने प्रक्रियामा हामी छौं।
Minister Lekhak also informed that 3 people had been arrested for protesting in Tudikhel last week during celebrations of the Gaura Parva. He said every citizen had the right to protest. However, it was wrong to do so at a festival venue. The 3 arrested were released today itself. In our Public Voice segment, we've asked in several provinces how easy is it for them to get services from their local levels. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
लोड शेडिङ नभए नि बत्ती गइरहेको हुन्छ अनि अब कुनै शुल्कहरू तिर्न राजस्वहरू तिर्न जाँदाखेरि पनि अब लाइनमा बस्न पर्छ समय बर्बाद भएको छ
वार्डको अध्यक्षहरूले त्यहाँको सचिवहरूले सेवा सुविधा दिनुभएको छ
गाविसको मिलेर एउटा पालिका बनाए हुनाले कतिपय अवस्थामा बुढाबुढीहरू तिनीहरूले चाहिँ पालिकाको केन्द्रसम्म पुग्नको निम्ति अलिकति डिस्टेन्स नै अलि गाह्रो बनाएको छ
आफ्नो मान्छे भएपछि अलि चाँचाडे गरम भनेपछि गरी पनि हाल्दिन्छ हैन र सिधै आफ्नो छैन भने अलि कहिले अलि एकछिन हुन्न एकछिन पछि हुन्छ कहिले भन्नु त भन्नुहुन्छ
केही न केही आर्थिक लोभ यदि दिए भने काम छिटो भइहाल्छ आर्थिक लोभ दिन सकेन भने त्यसको काम पेन्डिङ गर्ने झुलाउने प्रायः यो देखिरहेछ
कोही अन्य पार्टीको हुँदा चाहिँ काम गर्न त्यति सजिलो हुँदैन गाह्रो नै हुन्छ
कर्मचारीहरू कार्यालयमा नबसिदिने बसे पनि अरू कामले गर्दाखेरि भुलाइदिने
जनताको काम चाहिँ छिटो समयमा गर्दिन पर्यो
यहाँ आउँदाखेरि 3:50 भयो थियो अनि छुट्टी भयो अब उहाँहरूले भन्नुभयो आइतबार आऊ 10 बजे काम हुन्छ तिम्रो
सेवाग्राहीहरूले नबुझेको कारणले पनि अलिकति ढिला सुस्ते हुने गर्दछ
It is now time for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Polls.
Before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we were asked, what do you term the preparation of the Election Commission to prepare the draft of the law which prohibits electoral alliances and increases threshold? 55% were for A, respecting public vote, 12% were for B, effort to restrict French parties, and 33% were for C, conspiracy of large parties. Now, here is our today's question. What do you term the situation where bomb explosions are causing deaths even after 18 years of the end of armed conflict? Your options are A, irresponsible management of arms, B, irresponsible protesting entities, and C, public always in fear. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The largest chunk of foreign investment has been reported in the industrial sector in Nepal. Around 300 billion rupees has entered the country in FDI or foreign direct investment. Based on the survey report on foreign direct investment in Nepal made public by the Economic Research Department of the Nepal Rashtra Bank, the industrial sector accounts for 59.7% of the total FDI stock. Electricity, gas, steam and air conditioning sector stands the highest with 30% of total FDI stock, followed by the manufacturing sector with 29.4%. About 40.2% of the total FDI stock is in the service sector, of which the financial and insurance service sector constitutes 26%, information and communication sector 6.7%, and the accommodation and food services sector 6.3% of the total FDI stock. The survey results show that the stock of FDI in Nepal increased by 11.8% to 295.5 billion at the end of the fiscal year 2020-23. Paid-up capital is the major component in FDI stock as it accounts for 52.8% of total FDI stock, whereas the reserves and loans in total FDI stock account for 33.7% and 13.5% respectively. The survey was conducted primarily through structured questionnaire among enterprises that had obtained approval from the NRB to bring in FDI. Out of total 754 active enterprises that had obtained FDI approvals from NRB till 2020-23, 238 enterprises responded to the survey. A Millennium Challenge account, MCA Nepal has signed a contract for the critical 18-kilometer cross-border electricity transmission line, a component of the broader electricity transmission project under the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC Nepal Compact, funded by the Government of Nepal and the United States. The contract, valued at $12.36 million has been awarded to Transrail Lighting Limited, which will construct the transmission line from the 400 kV New Butwal substation in Nalparasi, Bardaghat, Susta West to the Nepal-India border within the contract duration of 21 months. The contract was signed by Khadgabahadur Bishta, Executive Director of MC Nepal, and Amol Wankhede, representative of Transrail Lighting Limited. Addressing the signing ceremony, Managing Director at NEA, Kulman Gesing, stated that the 18-kilometer segment was not just a construction project, but was a critical link that will enhance Nepal's energy infrastructure and deepen cross-border energy cooperation with India. Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and MCA Nepal Board Chair Ram Prasad Ghimire said the 18-kilometer transmission line project was set to play an important role in helping Nepal make strides in achieving its domestic power goals and reinforcing Nepal's position in the regional energy market. The most discussed bill at the Legislation Committee of the National Assembly was the Media Council bill. Now, although agreement has been reached on majority of the issues, discussions have been on hold since 2 weeks because of two major issues.
The Media Council bill, ever since being registered at the National Assembly, has courted controversy for various proposed provisions. Stakeholders have been piling pressure to not endorse the bill without corrections. However, the government has remained indifferent towards the bill since 2 weeks. Agreement has not been reached on Clause 6 of the bill, which is related to the formation and operation of the Media Council. Based on the proposed provision, the government will have the authority of appointing the Council's chair. Likewise, provisions have also been included for a recommendation committee under the coordination of Secretary and Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, and an expert suggested by the government itself. The other clause that has invited heated debate is Clause 15, which is related to the special provision for appointment of the Council's chairperson. Based on the provision, in case the incumbent chair is suspended over corruption charges and the position remains vacant for over 3 months, the committee will have the authority to recommend another candidate to fill the post. However, the bill does not clarify of a scenario after that where the suspended chair is given a clean sheet. Experts say these two provisions suggest that the government wants to have the authority to appoint and remove any individual from the position when needed and keep control of the council. The committee has yet to reach an agreement on these two clauses. However, voices have also been raised regarding the years of journalism experience required to become chair and members of the council. Based on the proposed bill, one would need to have at least 15 years of experience in journalism to be eligible for the chairperson post and 10 years to be a member. Although the government assigned the committee to find a consensus on the provisions in question, its own indifference has left the bill stranded at the moment.
तदारुक देखाउनु पर्ने हो सरकारले हामीले भन्दा पनि सरकारले चाहिँ आफ्नो विधेयकलाई चाहिँ अब छिटो ल्याउनु पर्ने हो र पास गराउनु पर्ने हो। अब मैले धेरै चाहिँ सचेत बनाएको छु, उहाँहरुलाई पटक फोन गरेर भनेको छु।
Stakeholders have also expressed interest on Clause 18 of the bill, which requires chairperson of a media organization and operators to disclose details of the investments and the source of their funds. This provision has been disputed as it is the responsibility of the company registrar's office. The committee has approved of this clause despite disagreements and without holding adequate discussion. Experts warn the Media Council will not be independent if the current bill is endorsed without corrections.
यसमा पुरै प्रक्रियामा सरकारको नियन्त्रणमा छ। सरकारले आफूले चाहे जस्तो मिडिया काउन्सिल बनाउन सक्छ। सिफारिस समिति पनि त्यही अनुसारको छ, भोलि बन्ने कमिटी पनि त्यही अनुसारको छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यसरी बन्ने कमिटीले यसरी बन्ने काउन्सिलले भोलि गएर स्वायत्त रूपमा काम गर्न सक्छ भन्ने सम्भावना चाहिँ कम गर्दछ।
Parliamentarians have suggested to replace the provision of Secretary of Ministry of Communication leading the recommendation committee with National Assembly chair. They have also demanded one of the committee members be one of the former chairpersons of Press Council and the other member chairperson of the Committee on Education, Health and IT of the House of Representatives.
It is now time for the international news. Violence during last month's anti-government protests in Bangladesh resulted in the death of over 1,000 people, marking the bloodiest period in the country since its 1971 independence. According to the Bangladeshi media, health advisor Nur Jahan Begum shared the data during her visit to the Central Police Hospital in Razarbagh area of the capital Dhaka. She also said that more than 400 students and common people lost one or both eyes due to police firing during the demonstration. Health advisor Begum also took information about the condition of the injured policemen at the Central Police Hospital. During the conversation with the media persons, she said that most of the policemen had serious injuries on their arms and legs. More news after this break. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look into the top stories one more time. Administrative leadership of 245 local levels having to depend on acting officials in absence of sound management by the government. Clash between officials and public representatives a major issue. Fear of the CIA and ANTA. Death of 2 children in Pastor caused by explosion of devices made during the armed conflict era. Family members of those disappeared not in peace for the past 2 decades. Violence during last month's anti-government protests in Bangladesh resulted in the death of over 1,000 people, marking the bloodiest period in the country since its 1971 independence. And Palesha Govardhan has an eventful day at the Para Taekwondo event of the Paris Paralympics, wins 2 matches and suffers a defeat. Hope of a medal is alive. That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.